child abuse at home and child safety.
So CCTV cameras at home, they are good. However, I always say that prevention is better than cure. CCTV can tell you what has already happened. So you can catch the perpetrator. The predator can be caught. However, the deed has been done. So say for example the child was kidnapped, you would know who kidnapped the child. But the child has already left the home and is experiencing some kind of trauma and the child is in an unsafe environment with unsafe people. If a child is sexually abused or beaten, for example, it has already happened. The CCTV will only tell you who did it. Yes, you can punish who did it, even if you jail the person for life. That child has been traumatized, that child has been abused already. And abuse, say for example, sexual abuse is something that some people deal with for the rest of their lives, irrespective of the therapy that they have. So why don't we prevent the action from happening as opposed to trying to capture somebody? When you hire a domestic worker into your house, you need to screen. The agents will tell you that they've screened this nanny, and oftentimes they haven't. You rarely find that they do. Some will tell you that they are, super company or whatever the case may be. However, I will tell parents to do their own due diligence. Do your own due diligence. No matter the screening they said they've done, make sure that you also do your screening as much as you can, even if they're from the village. Try and find out who is in the village that knows their parents, that knows, all the connections, that if they're in Ikorodu, go and find out, about that person as much as you can. At least you know that you have tried your best. And then when it comes to the health and the hygiene of the person, you want to check that person out. Yes, we do in this part of the world all sorts of tests, hepatitis, HIV, tuberculosis, malaria, pregnancy tests, all sorts of things are being carried out. And it's important that you do all those tests. I mean, there are people that I know that they have domestic workers that have HIV, they have domestic workers that have hepatitis, because you can have hepatitis and not transfer it to somebody else. So it doesn't mean that you can't have a domestic worker that has hepatitis. And when I say it to people are like, hey, I actually have friends that they had a nanny for 6-7 years, and the lady had hepatitis. It's just that you have to limit the scope of their work. You have to limit the scope of the work that they are doing. So there will be some things that they will not do for the children, but they can fold their clothes, they can iron, they can clean, they can help tidy up with their rooms or their toys or whatever. They may not handle the food, but at least they're adding value in one way or the other. So that's one thing. So when you do those tests, you're able to determine if you want the person in your home or you do not want the person in your home. At least there are parents that are HIV positive and they have children. Did they eliminate themselves from their homes? So we have to know but that's a whole conversation, because all sorts of things happen. So if you want to eliminate all risk or whatever, you can. The choice is yours to make. I'm just making people aware that there are people that are good out there. They've got these diseases or viruses or whatever it is, not necessarily because they are promiscuous or whatever, through no fault of their own. They've had sort of things, and should we now not give them opportunities? But you can say, okay, well, it's not in my home, but yeah, separate conversation entirely. Now, having said that, when they come into your home, you need to have a training guide for your home. You can't assume that a papa will come into a palace and know what to do. You can't assume that somebody will come from the village and come into your home and know exactly how, even if they've worked somewhere else. The microwave in that house where they work may not be the type in your own home. They may not have Siri and Alexa operating apps and stuff like that. And then you are expecting them to know already, and then you are getting frustrated. You may not know, so there may be a way that they mop the floors in a particular home, and they come to your own home. That's not how you want it. They may sweep with brooms in a particular house and come to your home, and you want them to use a Hoover, a vacuum cleaner in your own home. So it's important that you sit them down, you do the interview thoroughly, and it's not, can you cook? Which soup can you cook? Can you make amala? Which soup? Banga? Okay. Can you wash children's clothes? How about you can make their hair? Okay. Okay. They are domesticated, and then you hire them. No, it goes beyond that. It needs to be a bit more thorough in fact, significantly more thorough than that. You even want to understand the mindset, and you want to do videos when you're interviewing these people, because you want photo pictures, you want videos, you even want as much as you can thumbprints, whatever. They're coming into your home. It's the same thing as you going to another country to go and reside in that country. People are jackpying. They're not just jackpying anyhow. They have to bring their bank statements. They have to, their NIN number. You know, these days, the payment people are registered. There's the NIN number. There's the thumbprint that they can do. There's the, you know, some of them will have passport, driver license for the drivers, all sorts of things. As much information as you can gather, that's what you should be doing at that point. So that if anything happens, that person can be tracked easily. If anything happens, you can report it to the police. At some point, they did say that you could register your domestic workers with the police, and I've tried it a number of times and it's not working. So they did say it was operational, but we've not had it functional in our own area today. They don't even know like, what are you talking about? They don't even know what you're talking about. So maybe it's happening in some environments, but not in our own environment. So if it's happening in your area, find out. You might want to check it out and get your domestic workers registered at that point. So screen them as much as you can. Who is their next of kin? Where does that next of kin reside? Where does that next of kin work? You're not asking too much. You are protecting yourself and you're protecting your family. See, when I started helps at homes at that time, the reason I started it was because we had a domestic worker who had been with us for 5 years. He had even been on the premises before I relocated to Nigeria. So he had been in the family. My parents knew him even before I came to Nigeria. But he was still the one that brought armed robbers into our home. So did we do enough screening? Perhaps we didn't. So where you have to take responsibility, you have to take responsibility. He was there for 5 years. You just got used to him, but we didn't really check his background, that he had a criminal background. So you have to check as much as you can. Who do they know? Who are their friends? Who are they? Don't hire out of desperation. You know, sometimes people will tell me, oh, even I tell parents, and they learn from all these things. I tell parents in the school, one moment they have this nanny, next moment they have that nanny. I say, where did you get this from? Say, oh, the agent sent. Who are the agents? Well, half of the time, the agents themselves were domestic workers, and they just realized that, oh, if I bring somebody from Cotonou, bring somebody from Benue State, me to have become an agent. They were also domestic workers. They're not necessarily people that have also been screened. So who is the agent? Where do they reside? Are they even registered agents at all? Many of them are not registered agents at all. So if they're not registered agents, which do you want to use them, number one? And if you do use them, how do you screen that they themselves are not a risk to you? How do you know that they're not even sending armed robbers to your home or criminals to your home to steal from your home? So all sorts of things, you know, the stress, you know, the experiences. There was a time where I asked a domestic worker to show me a picture of her mom, and she showed me and I've done it more than once. I do very random questions. I don't do straightforward questions. Oh, mama, how's mama in the village? Let me see mama's picture. So I looked at mama's picture. I said, can I scroll? She said, yeah. By the time I scrolled, there was porn. But she had forgotten. Now, I'm not saying you don't watch your porn, but at least I have an inclination of what this person is consuming. So if I have little children around, I might want to be careful with this kind of person. You know, random things. You can ask them random questions. Where you were working, how was it before? So that you can get an idea of their mindset. One, you can also have an idea of the trauma, because a lot of these people, they've experienced a lot of trauma in their lives. There was a time when we had a guy that was working here as a janitor. He was working as a janitor, and he had stayed for a year or two, whatever. Anyway, his first birthday, we got him snacks, drinks. So, you know, we just set up a table and put things out from that we do for everybody. And when it was time for him to, when we were singing and we sang the happy birthday, he started crying, and I was thinking, what is he crying about? You know, what's tears for? You know, okay, is he emotional? He doesn't strike us as the emotional type. So anyway, we got to the bottom of it, and what we realized was that he said this was the first time he would ever have people celebrate him in this way in his entire life. I'm talking about a man that was almost 30. And this is the first way that where he used to work, they used to whip them with whips. You know that Hausa Kuboko?
Yeah.
That they used to flog. Yeah, they used to flog them and stuff like that. And they don't remember, nobody remembers his birthday. So by the time you start asking questions, you know, what do you do on your birthday and stuff like that, they may be thrown. They may not understand what the relevance is, but you know what you're trying to achieve in asking those questions. And when you want to ask the questions, try not to just ask any random question, have some structure around the question, have an objective around what it is that you want to achieve from those questions. Write them out. There's nothing wrong with writing them out to remind you so that you don't forget that these are the things I'm trying to achieve. And people will wonder, just to get somebody to work. Yeah, but it's to work with your most important blessing in your whole life. If you want to buy a car, you'll be checking the chassis number, you'll be checking everything about the car. If you want to buy, you might want to buy ordinary designer handbag, they'll be looking for the number, you'll be checking if it's original, if it's authentic, it's not fake, it's not this and that. They will check the serial number, check everything. But when it comes to your children, you hire somebody to work with your children within 3 to 5 minutes. So what are you prioritizing as a parent? It's really, really important.